Tonight is different from other nights. Tonight, you are not already there. You are not sitting in a warm room or walking slowly through familiar streets. Tonight, you are on your way. You are coming back to Willowmere. Perhaps you have been here before. Perhaps you know the square, the pear tree at its center, the bench that always seems to be waiting. Perhaps you know the laundrette window, fogged from the inside, the machines turning steadily behind the glass. Perhaps you know the bookshop, the soft lamp pooling light over open pages, the café where someone always seems to be there quietly without asking anything of you. Or perhaps this is your first visit. That is also allowed. Willowmere does not require a history. It only requires that you arrive. And tonight, you are arriving. There is no plot to follow. Nothing you need to remember. Only the feeling of a journey that is almost over, and a place that already knows you are coming. You can close your eyes. Let the train carry you. The platform is quiet when you arrive. Not deserted, just settled into that particular stillness that stations have in the evening when the last of the commuters have gone and the building exhales and becomes something closer to itself. The air is cold, February cold, or the edge of it, the kind that has begun to soften slightly, that no longer cuts so much as simply surrounds you. You pull your coat a little closer, not because you need to, only because it feels right. Your bag rests at your feet. You have packed only what you needed, maybe less than you thought. The board above the platform shows your train on time. Platform 3, departure in 11 minutes. You don't need to check it again. The platform stretches ahead of you, a long line of pale concrete beneath the overhead lights. At the far end, a woman waits with a suitcase on wheels. Closer, a man sits on a bench reading something on his phone, though he hasn't looked at it in a while. You find a spot near the edge of the shelter and stand quietly. The tracks disappear into darkness in both directions. In the distance, a signal light burns red, then shifts. The air smells faintly of iron and cold stone, and something else beneath it, something that might be rain from earlier, still held in the concrete. You are not in a hurry. There is nowhere to be yet, except here, on this platform, in this particular minute of a quiet evening, and that is enough. It is, you think, more than enough. A sound in the distance, low and steady, approaching from the left. The train, not arriving quickly, just arriving the way things in the evening tend to, without urgency, without announcement, simply becoming present. The train slows to a stop without fuss. Doors open along the length of it, and for a moment the platform is briefly busier, a few people stepping off, pulling their things together, moving toward the exits without looking back. Then the platform quiets again, and those who are waiting step forward. You lift your bag and board. The carriage is warmer than outside. Not hot only that particular warmth of an enclosed space that has been holding people for a while, that hum of heating that you feel more than here. The seats are arranged in pairs, facing each other, upholstered in a dark color, worn in the way that suggests years of use rather than neglect. Each small window holds a black rectangle of night outside. You find a seat near the window. No one sits across from you. The carriage is perhaps a third full, a few people on their own, a couple in the seats at the far end, a woman with a child who is already asleep, head against her arm, mouth slightly open. You settle your bag and sit. There is that particular feeling of a journey about to begin, not excitement, exactly, something quieter. The sense of being between one place and another, of belonging temporarily to neither, held only by the motion that is coming. The doors close. A sound somewhere beneath you, the train finding its rhythm, and then, almost imperceptibly, movement. The platform slides away. The overhead lights of the station pass one by one, then give way to the dark. Outside, the city recedes. Buildings thin out. Lights grow further apart. The train settles into its pace, not fast, not slow, even reliable. You rest your head lightly against the window. The glass is cool against your temple. Outside, the darkness moves. The train moves through the night without asking anything of you. This is the thing about trains. Once you are on one, the decision is made. You are going somewhere, and the somewhere is already determined, and all that remains is the in-between this suspended time that belongs only to the journey itself. You watch the window. At first, there are still lights outside the edges of the city, the orange glow of roads, the lit windows of houses blurring past. Each one holds its brief impression and then disappears. A kitchen, a lit-up room with no one in it, a curtain being drawn, the ghost of a life passed in a second. Then the lights thin out. Small towns appear and dissolve. Stations marked by a name on a board and a handful of platform lights, and then darkness again. The train slows, pauses, moves on. You are not getting off yet. You close your eyes briefly. The sound of the train is constant, not soothing exactly, but reliable. A rhythm that your body begins to accept without effort. The slight rocking, the low hum, the occasional sound of the track beneath you, a shift in pitch as the train crosses something, a bridge, a junction, then steadies again. Somewhere behind you, the child from earlier is still sleeping. You can't see her, but you are aware of her, the way you are aware of sleeping things peacefully, without concern. The woman across the aisle has her eyes closed too. The man 2 rows ahead reads something, his light the only one on in this end of the carriage. You don't need to read. You don't need to do anything. Outside, the landscape has given itself over to darkness entirely now. Fields maybe, trees, the shapes of hills in the distance, barely visible against the sky that is not quite black. A deep blue-gray, the color of late evening in late winter, the color of the hour, just before the world fully commits to night. You breathe in, out. The train carries you without effort. A station appears smaller than the last. 2 lights on a short platform. A name you almost recognize. Not Willowmere yet, but closer. You are almost there. The train slows differently this time. You notice it before you hear anything. A change in the rhythm beneath you. The hum settling into something lower. The motion becoming deliberate rather than continuous. As if the train has decided, without announcement, that this is the place. Outside the window, the darkness begins to be interrupted. A light, then another. Then the shapes of low rooftops against the sky, and the pale glimmer of a road, and the soft glow of a platform appearing ahead. Willowmere. The station is small. 1 covered platform, a single overhead light casting a warm circle onto the concrete. A wooden bench beneath the shelter, its paint worn where hands have rested over many seasons. A sign the name in plain lettering. No ornament, no flourish, just the word, and beneath it, a smaller sign that has been there long enough to have weathered. The train stops. You gather your bag. You don't hurry. When the door opens, the air meets you first cold, clean, carrying the particular stillness of a small place in the evening. Not city cold, village cold. The kind that doesn't press so much as settle. You step down onto the platform. There is no one else getting off here tonight. The train lingers for a moment that pause stations allow, as if catching its breath, and then quietly moves on. The sound of it recedes. The lights at the back of the last carriage grow smaller and disappear around a curve. And then there is only the village. You stand on the platform and listen. Somewhere, the soft sound of water moving in a drain from earlier rain. The faint creak of the shelter overhead in a breeze, so slight you can barely feel it. Somewhere further away, a door closing. Careful, unhurried, Willowmere waits, the way it always does. Without expectation, without urgency. The path from the station into the village is one you know, or perhaps it is one you simply trust. The way you trust paths in dreams, not because you have walked them before, but because they feel right beneath your feet. The road curves gently to the left, away from the station, and within a few steps the platform is behind you and the village begins. Not with any particular marker, not with a sign or a gate, only with the feeling of the air changing, of the space around you becoming more inhabited, warmer in some way that has nothing to do with temperature. The street is cobblestoned here, not the smooth kind, the old kind, rounded stones pressed into the ground over many years, their surfaces worn almost flat in the center where feet have always passed, rougher at the edges where they haven't. Your footsteps sound different on them. softer, more absorbed. The street lamps are on. They are not bright. They do not flood the street. Each one creates a small pool of amber light, and between them the darkness is gentle, not alarming, only private. You walk slowly. There is no need to rush. The village is not going anywhere, and neither, for now, are you. On your left, a low stone wall runs alongside the path. Its surface is damp from the day's rain, dark and slightly mossy at the base. You rest your hand on it briefly as you pass. The cold of it grounds you. On your right, a garden, already showing the first hesitant signs of what is coming, not flowers yet, only the suggestion of them. Small green shoots along the edge of a bed, something pale and low near the gate. The earth here is darker than it was a month ago, softer, beginning to remember what warmth feels like. You breathe in. The air smells of cold stone and something faintly green, and the very last traces of someone's evening fire carried from somewhere further into the village. You turn onto the narrower street that leads toward the square. The houses here sit close together, their facades a mix of pale stone and older plaster, each one slightly different from the next, in the way of buildings that have been added to and adjusted over many decades without ever being entirely replaced. Some windows glow with warm light. Others are already dark, curtains drawn, the day finished. You notice it as you pass one of the doors on the left, a small bunch of flowers on the step, wrapped in brown paper, tied with a length of twine, tucked against the wall where the overhang might keep the dew off it. The paper is slightly crumpled at the edges, in the way of something wrapped with care rather than precision. Peeking from the top of the bundle, a single stem of lilac, its color muted in the lamplight, but unmistakable, the smell of it just reaching you as you pass. You slow without meaning to. You have seen this before, or rather, you have heard of this. In Willowmere, there is someone who leaves flowers this way, not for any occasion, not with any note, only because she noticed, and because she had something to give, and because in this village those two things together are always enough of a reason. You don't know whose door this is. You don't need to. Only that someone who lives behind it will open it tomorrow morning and find this, and stand there for a moment in whatever they are wearing and feel, without quite knowing why, that the world is not unkind. You continue walking. The smell of the lilac follows you for a little while. Then it softens into the air, and the street takes it. The street opens, and you are in the square. You know this place. Perhaps you have stood here before, in other evenings, in other seasons, in other stories. Or perhaps you are recognizing it now for the first time, the way you sometimes recognize a place in a dream, not with surprise, but with the quiet certainty of something already known. It is not large, not impressive, only just enough space for a bench, a single tree, and the feeling that paths naturally meet here. The tree stands at the center, bare still, though when you look closely, you can see it, the very first suggestions of bud along the upper branches, close held and small. The color of something that is not quite green yet, but is no longer entirely absent of it. The tree has seen many winters. This one is almost over. The bench beneath it is empty, damp from the day. Its surface holds a thin film of moisture that catches the lamplight, and you look at it for a moment without sitting. It waits without expectation, the way it always does, the way most things in Willowmere do. A cat crosses the far edge of the square. It moves without hurry, tail low, picking its way across the cobblestones with the particular confidence of a creature that knows exactly where it is going. It pauses beneath the tree for a moment, lifts its head, then continues on. Its paw prints leave brief marks in the dampness near the bench, then are absorbed by the stone. The moment passes. The square is quiet again. You stand here for a little while, hands in your coat pockets, feeling the village settle around you. There is nothing you need to do in this moment, nowhere you are already late for. On the far side of the square, the street continues. You take it without deciding to your feet, simply know the way or trust that there is a way, and that is the same thing. The bookshop is here. You recognize it by the sign, which creaks so slightly in the evening air you might have imagined it. And by the window, even now, after closing, there is light inside. Not the overhead lights, just the small lamp that sits on the desk near the back, the one that is sometimes left on into the evening, a warm and narrow circle falling across the wooden surface, touching the spines of the books on the nearest shelf and leaving the rest in soft shadow. She is there. You can see her through the glass, or rather, the impression of her. A shape moving slowly between the shelves, carrying a small stack of books, placing them back in their spaces with the unhurried attention of someone who knows exactly where everything belongs. She does not look up. She does not see you. She does not need to. You stand for a moment at the window, not pressing your face to it, only pausing. The lamp inside turns the glass into something almost amber at the edges. Beyond it, the shop holds its particular quiet, the kind of quiet that comes from rooms full of stories, all of them patient, all of them willing to wait. There is a book in the display you haven't read. You notice it without urgency. Another time, you move on, and behind you the bookshop continues as it always has, lit from inside, unhurried, at ease with the night. Some places do not need you to enter them, to give you something. The café is at the corner where the main street meets a smaller one. The sign says, closed. It has said this for an hour, maybe more, but there is still a light on behind the glass. Not the full warmth of an open café, not the amber invitation of a place that wants you to come in. Only a single lamp, low on the counter, casting a quiet glow that falls just short of the window. You pause outside. Through the glass, You can see the chairs arranged the way they are left each evening, not stacked, only drawn in toward the tables, legs tucked, as if they have simply sat down themselves and are resting. A few cups are still on the counter, clean now, turned upside down on a cloth to dry. The coffee machine stands dark and quiet. She is behind the counter, the café listener. You would know her anywhere, or perhaps you are knowing her now for the first time, but the effect is the same. She stands with her hands resting on the counter, not doing anything particular, not cleaning, not preparing for tomorrow, only standing in her own space at the end of her own day, present without purpose. She has dark blonde hair to her shoulders, loose now in a way it probably isn't when the cafe is open. She is wearing the wool sweater, the dark linen apron gone, just herself in the quiet kitchen light. She looks up, not sharply, just the natural shift of attention. When something moves outside a window, she sees you. And she does something small, something you will carry with you the rest of the walk home. She simply nods. Once, unhurried, the way someone nods when they recognize you not just as a person, but as someone who belongs here. As if to say, yes, you are back. Yes, there is room. You nod in return. Then you walk on. Behind you, the lamp in the cafe dims slightly. Not off, only lower. As if the evening has given her permission to stop. Beyond the square, the street becomes quieter. The houses here are set a little further back. Gardens behind low walls, dark now, holding whatever they are holding in the cold. Some windows glow, others are already dark. A pair of boots left on a doorstep, dusted with the day, neatly placed side by side. A plant on a windowsill, leaves close and dark against the glass, winter stubborn, still green. Your footsteps on the cobblestones are the only sound now. You notice how easily the village absorbs you. Not noisily, not with welcome that expects anything in return, only by continuing to be itself. The warm windows, the low light, the faint smell of someone's evening that has followed you from 2 streets back, and trusting that this is enough. It is. It has always been. You pass a house with a kitchen light on, warm and amber behind thin curtains. A shadow moves across them, unhurried, carrying something. A kettle, perhaps, or nothing at all. It doesn't matter. What matters is that there is someone there, going about their evening, and you are here, going about yours. And the village holds both of you at once, without any difficulty. The street curves gently ahead, as if it never intended to go anywhere in particular. Only here, only this slow bend, only the next pool of lamplight, already visible, waiting for you to walk into it. You are almost home. The house is there before you are ready for it, not in a startling way, only in the way that destinations sometimes appear when you have stopped counting the distance, simply present, simply waiting, the way it has been this whole evening. There is a light on inside. You left it on, or perhaps you didn't, and it was left on for you, it doesn't matter. What matters is that the window glows warm and low and steady, and the door is exactly where you knew it would be, and your hand knows the shape of the key before you reach into your pocket. You stand on the step for a moment, just a moment. You breathe in the last of the outside air, cold, stone, and early spring, and the very faint suggestion of lilac, carried from 2 streets back, already almost gone. You breathe out. The door opens quietly, the way good doors do, and warmth reaches you before you have fully stepped inside. You hang your coat where it always goes. Your bag is set down without precision, only placed your shoes by the door, not aligned, only removed. The house receives you without ceremony. This is what home does. It does not ask where you have been. It does not require explanation. It only offers the same warmth, the same quiet, the same steady shape that it has always offered. You have carried a long day here, or perhaps only a long journey. Either way, you have arrived. You are in Willowmere. You are home, and the night has already begun to hold you. You don't need to do anything now. You have arrived. The journey is finished. The door is closed. The outside remains outside. And what is here? The warmth, the quiet, the soft weight of a house that knows your rhythms is enough. Perhaps you make tea. Perhaps you don't. Perhaps you sit for a while, or go straight to where you sleep, or stand at the window for a moment and look out at the street, at the lamplight on the wet cobblestones, at the last light, still on in 1 or 2 of the houses across the way. None of it needs to be decided. The evening allows all of it. You think, without thinking about it too deliberately, of the journey, of the platform, the cold air, the train arriving without urgency, of the carriage, the warmth, the window holding only darkness and your own faint reflection, of the stations sliding past, growing smaller, the distance between the lights growing wider, of stepping off onto the platform and the train moving on and the village being there exactly as you left it, or exactly as you hoped it would be, of the flowers on the doorstep, the cat in the square, the bookshop lamp still burning, the café woman who looked up and nodded once without needing to say anything more. These things settle now. They do not stay sharp. They soften at the edges, the way memories do when you stop holding them and simply let them rest. Your breathing has slowed. Or perhaps it hasn't, and that is also fine. Your body knows what it needs. It has been here before, at the edge of sleep, at the place where the day finally loosens its hold and the night becomes something you can lean into without resistance. Willowmere continues outside. The square is quiet. The tree stands still. The bench waits, unhurried. The laundrette window is dark now. The machines finally stop. The bookshop lamp may still be on, or may have clicked off by now. You don't need to know. You don't need to hold any of it. It will all be there tomorrow. The cobblestones, the low stone walls, the first green of the gardens, the cafe opening in the morning, the smell of coffee drifting out as the door is unlocked. The flower shop, its buckets full again. Something new arrived from somewhere south, still cool from its journey. All of it will be there. And you will be here. In, out. The night is gentle in Willowmere. It always has been. It knows how to hold a village and everyone in it lightly, without insisting, without marking the hours too precisely. You are one of those it is holding tonight. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to carry. The journey is over and the arrival is complete, and all that remains is this, the soft, dark, the steady warmth, the unhurried breathing of a place that is glad you came back. Sleep well, dear one. You are safe, and the night will hold you.